excited. We're back here with 15 on Friday. I'm here with my compadre, Christine Murphy.
Hi, so good to be here.
So great. We're back here talking about something we have a great guest today to talk about something that has got us very, very upset. And that is the Ukraine crisis, which I know Christine and I have been obsessing about. We both wrote blogs. We're like, what can we do? But there is so much learning at the same time. And that's why we're so excited to have with us this morning, Katharine Manning. Katharine, welcome.
Thank you so much. It's wonderful to be here with you too.
Great to have you. And Katharine is, if you don't already know her, everyone, you should, because she is the expert on empathetic leadership. She has a book of that name, but she herself evolved because, Katharine, you started at the Department of Justice, and now you are just knocking them dead with, well, alive, let's say. I don't want to say dead, but alive with really teaching empathetic leadership and your book, Empathetic Leadership. You're at AU, you're consulting with corporations and all that. But today we really want to talk about empathetic leadership and what's going on in terms of the Ukraine and how the whole world is inspired by the leader of Ukraine, President Zelensky, and the people of Ukraine. As our hearts go out to them, at the same time, we're saying, oh my God, these people, and he is incredible. What are your thoughts on that, Katharine? Where do you think this is coming from?
Well, I've been really amazed to see his leadership in this time. I feel so inspired by him. I know I'm not alone. I'm sure you feel the same way. I've been giving some thought to it. Like you, I will say, Leslie, I have been really just heartsick about what's going on. I felt really powerless and disturbed. I find myself looking at Twitter and CNN various times throughout the day, last thing at night, first thing in the morning. What's happening? Are they okay? Is Zelensky still there? So it's a really, really difficult time. And I do want to encourage people to take care of themselves as they're reading the news right now. I think it can really take a toll on us, and maybe try to build in breaks, go for walks, let yourself watch a sitcom or something, try to take some breaks from it. But I also do want to talk a little bit about the leadership that Zelensky has shown in this time. It's been truly incredible. There are a few things he's done that I think are so powerful. One, he has been unwavering in communicating that he is there, that he is present and he is standing with his people. Mm-hmm. There is no question from anybody around the world that he is 100% leading for them. And to me, that is a key part of leadership, what sometimes people call servant leadership, that you are truly leading in a way that serves the people that you are supporting. I do a training on empathetic leadership, and my definition for that is managing your emotions and actions for the good of the organization and the humans within it. And I want to point out that you don't have to be a president or a CEO or in a leadership position that has been named by your organization. We all can be leaders from where we sit. As long as we have within us this desire to serve the people around us and the organization as a whole, and Zelensky has certainly shown that. So one is...
Katharine, let me ask you, I just want to bring something to your attention, which I'm sure you're aware of, but mostly to others. On the homepage of your website at Blackbird DC, which is your consulting business, you have in headlines, do your people know you are there for them? And that, I thought, wow, when I read it again, I said, oh, does everyone know that President Zelensky is there for them? It was like, you didn't write that from a political, you wrote that for leaders all over the country, whether you're leading a company, an organization, or whatever, but it is so applicable, right?
Absolutely. In times of crisis, we look to our leaders to support and protect us. And if they are absent, they're not speaking, they are speaking inconsistently, or they're taking actions that we feel like are not in our interest, that can really do long lasting damage to our own sense of safety and also our sense of trust in the institution as a whole, whether that's the state, as with Zelensky, or if you're at a school, if you're at a company, all of those things are also implicated in those environments as well.
I think one of the things that makes him so unique, and I'd love to hear your thought on this, is you're talking about how he's leading his countrymen. And by the way, he's not leading them to make the numbers for the next quarter. He's leading them into possible death without regret. I mean, to me, there's just no comparison between the two. But the second thing he's doing, and it hones in on what is your specialty, which is empathy, is he took the world that was not empathetic toward him. And he is leading the world in their empathetic and now actionable response to what he's facing. I don't know of any leader, certainly in my time, that has had such an enormous responsibility to more than just the group that's within the group that he's leading. I think the tools that he used, he comes from a comedic background. He comes from, an actor background. I'm in marketing. I'm in sound bites. I think his bites have brought out the empathy. I don't need a ride. I need arms. Like, can you talk about that part of it and the empathy that the entire world now, we're not sleeping to try to make sure, because if I go to sleep, maybe he won't make it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm so glad you pointed that out. I think there's a couple things he's doing. One is he is open about his vulnerability. He's not pretending that he is all powerful, that he doesn't need anybody. He is being very clear that they are in a very vulnerable position. And I think the sincerity of that, I think that really touches us. The other thing, as you point out, he's a very good communicator. Particularly in times of crisis, it's really hard for us to think. Frankly, we have a hard time comprehending complex topics. He is repeating the same words again and again. He is doing it on a regular basis, at least daily. He's making some sort of communication to his people and to the world, and he's using the same language again and again. And I think that helps us to comprehend what he's saying. And it also, again, gives us a sense of safety that he is in charge. He knows what he's doing.
Brilliant, Katharine, especially the repetitive part. I never thought about repetitiveness as something that cements a foundation for where we're going. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he will sometimes say the same words, one right after the other. I'm still here. I'm still here. I'm still here. And he often ends his broadcast with the same words. It's something like, all blessings to Ukraine. It's the same phrase that he repeats at the end. I was reminded of another phenomenal leader, was Jacinta Ardern in New Zealand, who did such a phenomenal job of leading her people through the pandemic. And again, she was nightly appearing on Facebook Live every single night. She would show up, so they knew they could count on her. And she was speaking in very, very short, clear phrases and repeating them again and again.
Yeah, that communication is.
Zelensky's wife, have you seen what she's been saying?
No, I'd love to hear.
She's doing what you're saying, which is what brought it to mind. She has posted numerous times on Instagram, and she says, I am here. I am not leaving. I'm a mother. I have to be strong and show my children not to be afraid. I will support my husband. I am not afraid. I'm not leaving and then there's amazing pictures that make you weep, showing her with her children and with her husband. So, interesting. So helpful.
Yeah,
right?
in my work with crime victims, one of the things I realized was when people were going through a hard time, they had such difficulty comprehending what we were saying. I often think that people in crisis hear about a third of what I say. So, in my work with people who are in crisis or teaching others how to work with people in crisis, I generally advise saying things at least 3 times.
Right, right. And the other thing that I want, love to hear your thoughts on is really the leadership that the people themselves are taking, where they are having to make difficult choices, and mothers and children leaving the men behind to fight, and the men going to the streets, not with no protective gear, with nothing. I just saw this morning, they were groups of them, and it included women as well, by the way, guarding, I think, the nuclear plant, so that they would stop. Their goal was to stop the military from Russia from coming there. And there was like a crowd of maybe 50 people standing there. Let's talk a little bit about that as well, the leadership that these people are showing.
Isn't it incredible? I know I get a little teary when I see those instances. I remember seeing images of a town kind of on the outskirts of Ukraine where they were able to stop a Russian convoy with no arms. The entire town came out and just stood in the street, and they were able to stop the trucks that way. Isn't that incredible when you think about just that collective action and power that they're able to show through coming together? It's really so inspiring and incredible. And like you, I've been kind of watching what has been happening, in particular with the rule that men between the ages of 18 and 60 are not allowed to leave Ukraine. I heard on the Daily earlier this week, they did interviews with 3 men who were staying in Ukraine and fighting. And I mean, one guy was, I think, a 20-year-old cartoonist. Another was a marketing guy in his 30s. And he said, a week ago, I was Googling whether to buy a new game for my PlayStation. And he said, and now I'm Googling how to make Molotov cocktails. He said, I don't want to kill anybody. And I know that these Russian soldiers, they didn't choose to be here. They're very young. They're, 19, 20 years old. But at the same time, he recognizes this is what you have to do if you want to fight for freedom and democracy and for your own autonomy. You have to be willing to stand up and stand together in times like this.
Right. And where does that take you when it's almost like you have to, as each of us, we're feeling it, but we're feeling it from afar. And it's hard to imagine how people can go there to that, find all that strength and see the leader within. How with your own experience, I mean, how do people find that leader within?
I think sometimes in a moment like this, we have strength that we didn't know, and we have reactions that can surprise us. But I do think that it's important for all of us every day to be doing what we can to manage ourselves, our emotions, our health, our self-care. In my book, I talk about how we can withstand when somebody comes to us with a really difficult situation. How do we maintain our own equilibrium in the course of that conversation? And one of the things I talk about is this story. When I was in college, I used to play rugby. And one of the things that my rugby coach taught me was that he said, people often think that the way to withstand a tackle is to build up your leg muscles, but that's not true. What you really need is to build up your core, your stomach muscles. You have to have a really strong core, because that's how you keep your balance, and that'll keep you upright and moving forward no matter what comes flying at you. I really think of these steps of self-care, of learning how to manage ourselves and being cognizant of what's going on around us and how we can play a part in it, how we can support others. I think all of that is about building up your core so that you can stay upright and moving forward, even when horrific, sometimes unthinkable things are happening. It gives you the strength to know I have the community around me. I have the strength within myself that I can get through this.
And Catherine's book, by the way, is The Empathetic Workplace. And you can purchase the book at katharinemanning.com. And Katharine is with a K-A-T-H.
That's right. That's right. Now, Katharine, thank you so much for being here. And it's such an honor to not only have you here, but also be a member of the Her Circle Leadership Inner Circle of support. And that's what we do. We're out there all supporting each other, supporting women, supporting families, and being there for each other. So thank you so much for being here and sharing your insights on empathetic leadership with us today.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, Leslie. Thank you, Chris, for all you are doing to support communities of care and leaders who are both women and men. Thank you.
Yeah. And we're going to have you back another time when we can talk all about you.
I'll be here anytime. You just let me know.